when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses, there's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
Things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. We're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back up. Yes, I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. So yeah, I decided I wanted it a little bit darker in here. I don't know, I like it darker in here because it's easier on my eyes. if it were up to me, I would like, unless I had to do something that I really needed to see, I would prefer it to be like this. Just like this, because this is like so easy on my eyes. The ambient light is so easy on my eyes that the monitors don't bother me, if that makes any sense. And then plus being, we know all about blue lights and blue cars with lasers and all that good stuff, right? So the blue is probably the answer as to why all is well when the lights are like this. So I don't know. I'm just talking on my ass. Anyway, yeah, I just decided something different, and yes, I do very much so like it darker like this. So, anywho, where to start? Well, let me start with talking a little bit about Friday, because once we get into the old Israel thing, it's probably going to be pretty non-stop on the Israel thing at that point. So, first off, before we even get that far out of the gate, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. I'm a failure. Yep. I am an absolute moldy failure. So, my sourdough starter has failed. I did everything I could. No, I got to clean it out, and I'll start again. So, I'm not 100% sure what the culprit was. I did send an email to Survival HT with a picture of what I've got going on, which would look a little bit like that. There's definitely the moldy going on in there, so nope. That is not good. So I got to start over. Now I had asked, howdy Veronica. I had asked Survival HT, explain what I've done and all that, trying to maybe help them be able to help me. And so, for one, they said sometimes it just happens. But it could be due to mold being in the place, which I can't promise you there's not. That I surely can't promise you. Because I'm pretty sure there probably is mold, behind the, little wooden things and stuff. I guarantee there is. So, if that's what caused it, I'm probably screwed regardless. Because I probably won't be able to successfully start one unless I don't know, figure out somewhere to put it. If that was the issue. I also did not have the piece of fabric. I should have rubber banded it down or something like that. I used a piece of fabric, just a piece of fabric cut from an old t-shirt, and I just laid it on top. I didn't rubber band it down or anything like that, so that gave actually easy access, much easier access for spores and stuff to be able to get in. So and I know a little bit about spores and growing mushrooms, and that's as far as we're going to go on that topic, but I know a little bit about all of that because I've done it. I've intentionally grown mold, and I'm gonna give it another shot. I'm gonna use pantyhose. I've got those pantyhose stockings that I use for an air inlet filter for the grow tent. And I got a whole box of those stupid things. I don't know how many's in there, but there was a bunch. And so I'm going to use one of those. I'm going to stick it over the top. That ought to help a lot better with with preventing spores from getting in there. And at the same time, we'll still allow it to vent and breathe. So I'm going to restart that again tomorrow. When I do, and this is the big point of me telling you about it, I'm going to go ahead and do a video. So I kind of thought about it when I initially started, and I thought, and I didn't, and that's good. It would have been a waste of time. But I'm going to, tomorrow when I do it, I will make a video. I will put up a video. Because within roughly a month, I want to be able to make sourdough bread in my sleep. And I'm tough on deadlines for myself, and I don't destroy myself over missing a deadline. I always miss deadlines. I try not to. I try in earnest not to. But I intentionally put myself on the, when it's myself, I intentionally put myself on the line like that because I like a challenge. And so I like to challenge myself. So, anywho, video content on making sourdough starter and subsequently making sourdough bread to come. Friday had an incredible time. Well, I say an incredible time. I mean so in an enlightening, rich, I don't know really how to describe it. I can't say I necessarily enjoyed the topics that we spoke about, but, you know, they were topics that, you know, we was talking about, like, say, for instance, conditions in places like the slums in Africa, Kenya, Nairobi. I can't remember the name off the top of my head of the area, neighborhood. I don't know what it is that they call it. Can't remember the name of it. But I had to do the Google Map thing and do a top-down view, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking, and you've got this entire area here that's like a slum, right? And I mean, makes our slums look like penthouses, right? And then 2 miles away, you've got frickin' country clubs and golf courses, and it just, that maddens me. That maddens me incredibly, because that is not necessary. It is not necessary. You think there's a big income gap here in the United States? Nah, we don't see shit. It was a very sobering conversation Friday. And very good in the sense as far as an exchange of information. And I have to say, there's one thing that I really have to press as a point from both times that Paul has sat and spoke with us. There is one just overarching thing over it all, and that's just how much we are propagandized here in the United States of America. I actually feel embarrassed on some level on some of the questions that I had to ask Paul to clarify for me, because in my opinion they should have been things I should have known. I should have known. But our government-controlled education system wants to pick and choose what story you get told when and how, and it's crazy. It was kind of comical though. I'll tell you about this part of the conversation. In conversation, there was reason. I'm not going to get into any details or anything like that, just because it was our conversation, and you're welcome to come, and you're welcome to come this Friday. But in discussion, the situation came up to where, in order for me to better understand the culture, better understand things going on, I needed a couple of answers. And there was one thing that was said during just conversation, and he didn't even, it just rolled right out. And the reason so is because it's just life there. But it was just something I heard him say, and I caught it. And I wanted to just clarify. I wasn't trying to put him on the spot. I wasn't trying to, because, and like I told him, I'm Hebrew, bro. I'm Hebrew. You ain't got no worries when it comes to me about this particular subject. Because why? I'm Hebrew. I read the book. I read the book. The topic was discussed of polygamy. And, it's common over there in Africa that people have multiple wives. Why? Because that's biblical. I mean, I can't say anything else to it. It's biblical. I don't know what to tell people. It's biblical. Hayride. That was a hayride. Jen was wondering what it was. It just went past. And it was a pickup truck with a trailer, a bunch of hay on it. And I couldn't make out the people, but I'm sure there were tons of people on it. And I saw the emergency flashes as I drove by slowly. So, yeah, just out having a hayride. That's cool. I love this town. I do. It's everywhere's got their down points. The bad thing about a small town is the small town think, the small town gossip, the small town politics, all that stuff really does erode away at a small town. But how many towns do you have people cruising around in the middle of town on a Sunday night having a hayride? I mean, pretty awesome. I love where I live. I will do my best I won't say overlook those other things. I'll try to manage them the best way that I can think of, I guess. I don't know. We just got way more good here than what we got bad. Anywho, it was, we were talking about that, and I had to ask, the reason why I asked about that was because we were discussing another situation about lifestyle, more or less, in the slums there in Nairobi. I can't remember the neighborhood again, whatever it is they call it, neighborhood, area, precinct, I don't know what they call it, but basically, a lot of the women are very, I think the word's promiscuous. They'll sleep with a bunch of people. And so I was kind of trying to get at the root of that, was the whole reason why I asked him to clarify on the polygamy thing. Because I was trying to figure out if that was going on in the slums with, because like he was saying that, if you're from the slums or whatever, you're married to a woman, that's not your woman. That's like the slums woman. Like, it's just the way it is. And so I was trying to better understand the mindset of the people, because that's what I do, folks. I don't try to tell you, how to think. I want to know how it is that you think. I said that incorrectly. I don't want to tell you how you think. I would rather you tell me how you think. and explain it why. And because, well, am I not supposed to understand? I always thought that that was the whole point, not to one up, not to go over, not to be the victor. I thought the whole point was to understand. I don't know. I'm telling you, I am much different than the average person. But so I wanted to understand. I wanted to understand the mindset of the women there, to find out why they would live a lifestyle like that. And then he further explained why it was, and it doesn't seem to be, the whole polygamy thing really doesn't play a factor in it. And that's what I was trying to get at. That's what I was curious of. And no, that doesn't seem to be any of the leading factors to that type of a lifestyle in those areas. And he further explained what was the reason why. And you sit there. Well, we got on this conversation because I asked a question. Yeah, that's how we usually get wound up going down rabbit holes. Is I ask questions, and then it goes crazy from there. Because, well, one question leads to 10 questions, leads to 100 questions, and Lord knows where we are by the end of the conversation. But I like it like that. We were talking, I showed him some video that I had taken with my drone. We had a fire here last week. I think I mentioned it on the show. I took the drone up to find out what the hell all the sirens was about. Once I did locate what was going on, I immediately brought it back. I wasn't there to rubberneck. I wanted to know what was going on because at that point, for over 20 minutes, pretty much nonstop, we had been hearing sirens. And so I was wondering what the hell was going on. I mean, because it didn't sound like it was that damn far away. And sure enough, it wasn't. But, so it was a structure fire. But I was showing him that, and it was like Paul was amazed by just watching the drone, right? And he had started asking me questions about the drone. He was asking me, cost and stuff like that. And I told him the price, and he was just like, I mean, you could tell. It was just like, ooh, wow. And I caught it. I caught the level of his reaction, and I immediately asked, okay, wait a minute here, because I know we have to, in order to really truly know how strong our currencies are, how strong our economies are, you can't sit there and go look at bullshit numbers given to you by governments and financial institutions or anything like that. You just gotta have a real conversation with people. And so the way I do that when it comes to, trying to compare economically one country to another, is I would ask him, okay, how long would you have to work in order to make the money to buy that? Right? And if you compare the amount of time that it would take for him to earn the same monetary value of what it would be for you to earn, that's when you're no bullshit talking about comparing economies. Any other way is bullshit, man. Any other way is bullshit. You have to compare what kind of time, what time of work, or what kind of work or amount of work would go into buying the same item. The only way you can truly compare the economies and the currencies. And his response, and I think we were at that time talking about like a roughly, say, a $400 drone. I do believe his response was something like 2 or 3 months. And if you're out there, Fire Marshal Bill, and I'm wrong, Fire Marshal Bill was with us. If that's incorrect, please correct me, sir. But I think he said 2 to 3 months. to be able to purchase that $400 drone. And that was a wake-up call to me. That was truly a wake-up call to me. And that's why I'm telling you that everything that you hear about other nations, cultures, and stuff like that, there's a real good damn chance it's propaganda. Because I can sit here and tell you that at the age of 51 years old, it wasn't just common knowledge to me that the folks in Africa have the option, it's not like everybody does it, but they have the option to have a polygamous marriage. Okay? Why isn't that just known? Why is that kind of hidden, kind of held back? Curious on that, especially since it's biblical and all. Well, and then the whole currency thing. You know, we're bullshit, or we're bullshitted by, I guess, governments and financial institutions to think that there's some levity, at least some levity going on here. But if somebody else has to work for 2 or 3 months, what it would cost me a week's worth of work, that's bullshit. And that is not even close to equal. You know, we had discussed, because stuff like this, it eats me up. And again, Fire Marshal Bill was there with us, and it was eating him up. And he was like, same thing like me, man. We're sitting there looking at this picture of this slum, at this big heap of trash, right? And we're just sitting there, we're looking at it, and both I and Fire Marshal Bill are just sitting there, and I could tell both of us were just trying to figure out a way to fix this. And Fire Marshal Bill had a hell of an idea. It was a great idea. Impressed the hell out of Paul and myself as well. This is an incredible idea, man. And so Fire Marshal Bill asked the question, well, what if somebody, you know, of course it'd take a wealthy person. What if somebody wealthy decided to donate a couple of trash trucks and go find some teenagers or whatnot down there in the slums and pay them like $5 a day, which to you, you'd laugh that off. You would laugh that off. $5 a day to go pick up trash and haul trash away. You'd laugh that off. Paul said that family members would be coming from far and wide to come see the successful family member that was making $5 a day, the insanely successful family member. A decent wage, apparently, in that particular area is roughly about $2 a day. It's a good wage, from my understanding. I cannot encourage you enough to attend these VR shows, and you don't have to have a VR headset or anything like that. But if you want the opportunity to be able to sit down and talk with Paul, an amazing, incredible, this guy, every time I get done talking, I feel like I can, and I feel like I want to take on the world. Every time I talk to this man. Just an astounding human being. And brushes a lot of elbows with a lot of big people, I'll tell you that. That's for damn sure. Definitely has caught the eyes and ears of a lot of very important individuals, because he does do important stuff in Africa, not only with VR, but his normal line of work and stuff like that. An incredible human being, and I encourage people heavily to show up and participate, be able to ask him questions, be able to be a part of the conversation. Don't have to have a VR headset. If you got a computer, if you got a phone, you got a tablet, you're good to go. So Thursday, if I'm not late doing it, Thursday I will put out another, video with the link and all that for Friday's show. I can't promise you Paul's going to be there. I don't know. I can pray and I can hope. I think there's a fairly good chance we'll be seeing him. So, let's see. Okay. Got a number one up there. Oh, gosh. Okay. I need to share this out, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to the tabs I have open, and we will shift gears here. Oops, wrong one. We will shift gears here. Okay. I guess we'll put this about here. And let me do a refresh on this. And I better do a refresh on this just in case. Alright. Let me bring you on over to the web view. And we'll get talking about this Israel thing. So, as you may or may not know, there has been an insane attack on Israel. Just wow. I try not to get too set in a particular belief or opinion until I got enough data to be able to really kind of close in on a particular answer. I'll tell you what, from what I am seeing so far, man, and yes, it has been updated. Oh, wait. No, never mind. They just added the two sides. Never mind. So let me go ahead and we'll kind of start here. It says Israel declares war, bombards Gaza and battles to dislodge Hamas fighters after surprise attack. And it was an absolutely insane, crazy attack. I mean, I do have a lot of questions. I mean, they're talking thousands of missiles were shot into Israel. And I question that. You telling me, and the number I heard was something like 5,000 missiles were shot. So you're telling me that there's over 5,000 missiles in the Iron Dome system, that there's over 5,000 missiles ready to go at any given time? I'm not so sure I believe that. Think about that. Doesn't that seem a little bit, nah. Think about that. That means they would have to have enough units sitting around different places. 5,000, and I couldn't tell you how much each launcher could launch, but it's not that damn many. You would have to have hundreds and hundreds of these trucks or systems to be able to. I do question the numbers there. However, as far as death toll and whatnot, it says here, and this is the numbers that I did see earlier, at least 700 deaths have been killed, or people have been killed in Israel, and then they're claiming more than 400 killed in Gaza. The attack on Israel was just absolutely insane. I'm kind of at the same time curious what the hell took them so long to figure out to use some type of a, powered paraglider or a hang glider or something like that to fly in. I kind of always was curious why nothing like that had ever happened. But here we go. It has happened. Wow. I can't say that I necessarily believe that they did that good of a job planning. They were that far ahead. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't when it comes to that. I know there's a lot of people highly upset because Hamas had went after a music festival. And killing is wrong. Period. We need to have that understanding. It's wrong, period. Let me tell you something. If I'm at war with you, you better not rule out a damn thing that I'll be willing to do. I'm not naive. It's war. To sit there and say that you're going to place rules for war, I guess it sounds noble, but that's about as far as it really goes. I watched it was I guess it's I don't know if it was just a documentary or a TV show. Probably just a TV show. I don't know if it's supposed to be based on anything in particular or anything like that. But supposedly say what? Same comment. This is the second time I've gotten this. It says that they removed my comment. But it doesn't show me what the comment was, and it was spam. Was the reasoning. So, but there's nothing there. There's nothing I can find. There's nothing. So I don't understand what is going on. There are no restrictions. It says no restrictions or warnings. It just says they removed my content. It said I was trying to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way. And that the content went against their community standards on spam. And I can click to see the rule, but I can't click to see what it is they're claiming that I said, or when it is they're claiming I said it, or anything else. I can't get to any of the details of what's going on. It's like, interesting. Anyway, not related to the conversation we were having. So, again, when it comes to war, I'm a little hard pressed to be able to sit there and say, oh, wow, that was just uncalled for. It's war. It's war. And, I know that in every way what's going on, is terrorism. As far as Hamas and the music festival and stuff like that, that's terrorism. That is the definition of terrorism. But if you expect me to think that terrorism isn't a part of war, period, I'm not naive. Not even close. Not even close. It is always the objective of a warring nation to confuse and scare the civilian population. One way or another, even if it's to scare them in a manner just so that they can say that they're the saviors. I mean, don't we have experience 20 years in a desert, winning over the hearts and minds? That's all bullshit, right? It's terrorism. It's putting a pretty label on terrorism and trying to keep it looking a little bit cleaner, too. But make no mistake, when our troops moved in and there had to be a town overtaken, what went on could have very well been called terrorism. What went on during that period of time. Why? Because there was innocent civilian lives that were being lost, whether it was purposeful or not. There were other things that they were doing to get people to surrender. There was talk that they used Project Bluebeam in the very early on days of the conflict to get people to surrender. From my understanding, very successfully. So terrorism is a part of war. It's always crazy to me how individuals like to pick and choose what's acceptable when they do it and not acceptable when others do it. So anyway, just insanity going on right now over there. There is AP's got live updates here. I know RT's been running live updates. Yep, they still are. I've got APs open because I really, it's not that I'm trying to slam you guys with RT stuff. It's just they're the go-to to go to. So apparently, war has been officially declared. Let's get down to the updates here. 25 seconds ago, when I refreshed it, UN Security Council meets, takes no actions on U.S. demand. Demanding all 15 strongly condemn heinous terrorists. Okay, but they took no immediate action. Okay, so, which by the way, all of that's just, I don't even know why they waste their time. U.S. deputy, I think it's just to make people feel like they did something. I don't know. Because they are not, it doesn't do anything. U.S. Deputy Ambassador Robert Woods said afterward that a good number of countries did condemn the Hamas attack, but not all council members. He told reporters they could probably figure out one of them. Russia's UN Ambassador Vasilina Benzia told the Associated Press the Americans tried to say during the meeting that Russia isn't condemning the attacks, but that's untrue. It was in my comments, he said, we condemn all the attacks on civilians. So, again, people playing games. And there's more games going on as far as Russia's concerned, too, involving this attack. And I do actually have that open as well. But, getting down to the meat and potatoes of things here is going to be what's going to become of this, or what could become of this. And I'm not going to sit there and I'm not gonna fearmonger people. I'm not gonna exaggerate. I don't know if this is gonna break out into an all-out thing. Does it have the possibility there? Absolutely, they do. Much more so than Ukraine and Russia. Right now, this powder keg in the Middle East is the largest powder keg that is before us. So even the China stuff with Taiwan, all that really goes back burner when it comes to what's going on right now in the Middle East. So it's something to definitely keep your eyes on. But at this point, I wouldn't put my reputation, my name, or anything that this is going to be it, that this is going to be the kickoff, because I don't know. Most certainly has the potential, but I think it's a little soon to make those kinds of calls yet. So anyway, Pentagon sending a naval armada, and of course, there's going to be tons of other stuff that the U.S. helps them out with, that they've been continually helping them out with. Let's see. Right here it says some 2,500 rockets were fired. So that's still a lot of rockets. That's a lot of rockets. It's kind of hard for me to imagine that you could have had the ability to set up that many rockets without being detected, because from my understanding, you want to talk about being under the thumb, that entire region is 110% under the thumb of the Five Eyes, not just Israel, but of the Five Eye Network. So there ain't a mouse that farts in Palestine that the Five Eyes don't know about. So that's why I do, from the get-go, I do have a few questions. How could they have had this much gross oversight that this was being prepared? Because again, us Americans think that we're monitored. Nothing like the Palestinians are. Nothing like the Palestinians are. U.S. issues warning to Hezbollah. They're trying to warn them. You at least have heard. Hezbollah is a Lebanon-based group, and it's been said to be, tied in closely with Iran. I don't know where Iran's involvement is going to be in this. I don't know if Iran knows yet where their involvement's going to be in this. Just in real honesty, I don't think that there's anything that's been really laid out yet. It's still very, very fresh. Do I think that Iran will get involved if this continues? Yes. Yeah. I don't think there's a question. I think if this continues for very much longer at all, meaning Israeli troops attacking Palestinian points, Hamas points, or whatever title name they want to call them, what they're hitting, I don't think it'll be too much longer before Iran gets involved. Whether directly, indirectly, I have no idea. But Iran's getting to a point to where they're getting close to being able to tell old Netanyahu to go something himself or another, I don't know, because they have been doing a very good job of building up their military capability. Right now, you've got a lot of people talking about all the talking points that are going on right now involving, Obama sent them a bunch of money, and Biden probably sent, and that's nonsense. Stop it. The money that we have sent them is peanuts. Nothing in comparison to how much, howdy Leo, and to how much it costs to achieve those things, okay? They make it sound like we really had an effect on them being able to build up their military capability. And that's just not the truth. They get their money to be able to build up their military capability just like other countries build up the money through exports. Again, there is so much propaganda in this country. It's unbelievable. I think a lot of the people that think I'm just a wacko, crazy nut job just don't realize just how much on a daily basis they're being lied to by the media and their government and even other civilians. This is certainly something to keep an eye on. Do I think you need to be pulling out your little military shovel? I forget what the damn thing's called. They got a name for it. Your little military shovel and start digging your foxhole, your spider hole? No. No, bro. No, just relax. Could it become that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, in short order it could. But it's not there yet. Don't flip out. Keep prepping. Keep at it. Keep pushing towards it. And keep a very close eye on this situation, because I firmly believe that the actions that one takes right at the very initial start of quote-unquote SHTF will really set the tone for leading into it. In other words, if you do the right things at the right times at the very beginning of it, you're probably going to set yourself up in a much better position by the time the dust settles. And so if you miss out on that, let's say if it's a bug out type of situation and you for whatever reason run behind on bugging out, so now you've got to deal with tons of other people trying to bug out and trying to get past those mobs of people to get to where you need to go. Things like that can make a big difference. That's why I'm saying keep those ears open. Keep an eye on this stuff. Because your last chance to go shopping could come at any time. Any time. Father tells you to be like a thief in the night. Now, I don't think he's necessarily talking about the kickoff to the big war. But, nonetheless, he told you that parable so that you would understand, not only for that one single event, but at any time, a thief could come in the night. So you're supposed to be prepared for that at all times. Try to keep abreast as to what's going on over there. If you hear anything involving nuclear weapons, involved in Israel or any of that, put on the damn helmet. That's one thing that I am very watchful of. Alright. Next up, I mentioned a while ago that, just wait, my last tab, I only got two more, this one and another one. The last one's probably going to throw you for a loop, because we're sitting here talking about absolute craziness going on in Israel right now. There's something pretty damn crazy. I can't say equally crazy, but it definitely rhymes. It definitely rhymes. That's going on in Canada right now. Canada. What's happening is just as crazy as this. Anyway, let's finish up here. I don't know if there's any remote truth to this or if this is 100% propaganda. I have my suspicions of it being 100% propaganda. Sounds to me like Israel is trying to pit Russia against Hamas. Putin's not that dumb. He's not naive. And let me tell you something. If Hamas does truly have Russian hostages, I'm pretty confident that Hamas will have no problem releasing those Russian hostages because their fight's not with Russia. So I kind of don't even understand. Again, this has got to be propaganda. So lastly, before we get to headlines, Queen of Canada threatens villagers with public execution, says the media. Yikes, right? Check this out. A cult led by self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Didulo, I don't know if that's pronounced right or not, has occupied an abandoned school in a small village in the province of Saskatchewan and is now threatening villagers with dire judgment and execution if they do not obey the group leader's orders, CBC reported on Friday. The state broadcaster alleged that the threat has caused growing concern in the community. The Queen of Canada group appeared in Richmond, Saskatchewan in mid-September after being forced out of Kamsack, where hundreds of townspeople had protested their presence. Residents of Richmond staged their own demonstration on September 24, parading cars near the school, honking horns and calling on the cult to leave. On Monday, Didulo's adherents sent at least 4 threatening emails to village officials, Richmond Mayor Brad Miller told the news agency. CBC reported that one of the letters from Didulo's followers stated that the villagers of Richmond did not comply with the Queen's decrees and would face public broadcast execution and an undeserved devastation upon their children, grandchildren, and families. The sect also urged people to be forewarned and prepared. After the letters went out, a village council meeting was promptly called, and the mayor said on Friday the Royal Canadian Mounted Police set up a temporary detachment in Richmond, according to local media. We are aware of the presence of a group sometimes referred to as the Kingdom of Canada. Tyler Bates, commander of the Saskatchewan's RCMP South District, was cited as saying. The official noted that there were a number of calls related to this group's presence in the community over the last 2 weeks or so. Didulo is known as a far-right QAnon conspiracy theorist. Oh, good, here we go. Followers of QAnon believe there's a cabal of devil-worshipping pedophiles dominated by Hollywood actors and Democrat politicians who run a global sex trafficking ring while conspiring against former U.S. President Donald Trump and conservatives. But that is true. Okay? That is absolute. That's not just a QAnon thing. That is called fact. The Queen of Canada also claims to be a national leader of the Indigenous people. Among her other titles, she gained thousands of followers by spreading conspiracy theories on social media. Some of them had joined Didulo on her agitation tours of small towns in Canada. According to local media, the group calls its meetings with people educational. So, first off, I'm going to tell you, don't necessarily take anything that I told you, that I read you just now, as the necessary truth. They may be on a smear and propaganda campaign against this lady. I don't know. I find it crazy. when I read these claims that have been made, I'm asking myself then, why is the RCMP just hanging out? How come she hasn't already been taken into custody? Is that not? I mean, come on. Come on. Look at what they did to Pat and George. Freedom, wasn't it Freedom George? Something like that. I'm talking about the truckers up in Canada. What about them guys? Look at what they did to them guys. Look at how they took in Pat like they did. And George and the rest of them. Look at how they took them in. Look at how they were treated. Look at how long they were held. Look at what's still going on as a result of that. And you're telling me that this Queen of Canada just can't be touched? I've got a lot of questions on this. Lots of questions that I have no chance of getting the truth on. Keep your eyes wide open, folks. Always, always, always do your due diligence, your research, and come up with your own conclusion. Don't just go parroting conclusions said by those of people you like, including me. Do your own research. Truly form your own opinion. And the important thing about doing that research is so that when you do have conversations with other people, that you can factually inform them as to what's going on. That's not going to be well received because there's not a lot of society today that wants to hear the truth. They want to be told they're right. They want to be made to feel good. I'm not here to speak to those people. I can't tell you what to do or what not to do. But I know the Father wants me to speak the truth. And that's the way it's going to be. Whether people accept it, whether they don't, it's of no consequence. That to me. It's to them, but not to me. I just have to blow my trumpet. Whether or not people listen, well, that's on them, not me. I reckon I can run through these headlines and get off of here. Whew. Drink a coffee. Get a couple of vapes in me. Yay, pink strawberries over there. Finish charging. Grab a cap. Put on my Velcro retainer that I made the video on. It's been doing a splendid job, by the way. And I actually like this thing. Oh, hey, there you are. What's up, brother? Fire Marshal Bill in the house. Playing hide and seek with your dad for 40 years. he hid and you still can't find him, huh? That would suck. That truly would. That is one thing that howdy, Merlin. That is one thing that I wished, I wished I would have treated my dad better. And not taken for granted having one, you know? I look back at my past, especially as a young man, and on one level, I was as smart as it got. I was intelligent as it got. But I did some of the dumbest shit. I mean, got involved with some of the dumbest shit. It's kind of weird, you know, and in the end, when I look back on it and I try to decipher why, because, I don't know, that's just important to me. I think I figured it out. I wasn't challenged enough. I wasn't challenged enough. I wasn't challenged enough in school. I wasn't challenged enough anywhere. I was looking for a challenge. So me having a rebel spirit, it went kind of crazy directions. I wished I wouldn't have taken that for granted, though. Absolutely. That's one of the top things on my list that I wish that I could redo. I honestly had no idea. And believe me, we didn't have a great life growing up. But even that said, it wasn't that damn bad either. We had food in our bellies, and I can remember times of my parents eating bread to make sure that us, and that, I'm not saying that as like a pity story or nothing. I remember this. I remember my parents, at least my dad for sure. I'm sure my mom probably did too. But I do remember them doing crazy shit like just eating bread so that we had enough food. I do remember that. I remember being at home when a vehicle pulled in the driveway and shortly afterwards the power gets turned off. And I remember parents being so upset because they weren't able to get uptown to the city hall quick enough to be able to prevent the power from being shut off. That's the only time that I can ever recall that our power was shut off. But I made a vow then. I think I was somewhere around junior high at that time. And I made a vow then that I was going to find a way. I was going to find a way to make the energy companies irrelevant. You will never see me shill for big oil. Never. Because what they are doing is horse shit. Anyway. Yeah, I wished I wouldn't have taken that stuff so much for granted. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Alright, let me get to headlines here and get her done. Alright, starting with Friday's headlines, of course. Eurozone economy edging towards recession, says S&P survey. Germany relaunches mothballed coal plants to save gas. Huh, who'd have thunk it? Trump rival claims protesters rammed his car. Key EU state opposes fast-tracking Ukrainian membership. Ex-Zelensky aide backs call to conscript youth. EU neighbor issues Security Council warning to Germany. Ukraine accuses Russia of targeting funeral. Russian authorities charge former Ukrainian top officials. Let's see. U.S. to continue using Russian spaceships, says NASA official. Basically, we're going to catch a ride up to the space station with the Russians until we come up with something else. So, which is great. I think that's awesome. I don't think that science should have to be held back for idiots in suits and ties. Italian drink giant sues to maintain position in Russian market. A Starship flight to Mars could happen soon, says Elon Musk. Biden is going the first time, right? He's Biden, right? Didn't he win that along with the presidency, the first trip to Mars? I'm pretty sure he did. Russia and China are engine of new world order, says Jung Welt editor-in-chief. European nations to pay Ukrainian refugees to leave, says media. Let's see. Trump endorses Republican speaker candidate. Russian parliament to debate revoking nuclear test ban, says top MP. That's something to pay attention to. Russian ally threatens to switch to France. I'm sorry, I was about to belch when I was trying to say that. De-dollarization is a must, think tank head tells RT. German opposition party leader was attacked, says medical exam. Well, medical exam suggests. Dengue fever coming to U.S. and Europe, says WHO. Fear, scare. Ineffective Western sanctions only strike fear in other countries, an expert tells RT. Ex-king wins $154 million court battle against former lover. Largest buyer of Russian grain named. Ukraine seizes assets worth $463 million from tycoons. Venezuela issues arrest warrant for failed coup leader. Belarus is a good neighbor to Poland, says Lukashenko. Central Asian state reaffirms strong ties with Russia. Oh yeah, this is craziness here. Police find at least 115 bodies at a Colorado quote-unquote green funeral home under investigation. They, they were green. They didn't use all of the embalming chemicals and stuff like that that's used by your typical funeral home. Hell, I guess they weren't doing anything. I don't know. I don't know what the condition, was or anything. I don't know. It's mind-blowing to me. Biden plots stopgap funding for Ukraine aid, says media. Trump accused of leaking submarine secrets, says media. American goes on rampage in Israeli museum. EU raped Hungary and Poland, says Orban. Anti-war protesters arrested at Bernie Sanders' office. Hillary Clinton calls for deprogramming Donald Trump fans. European leader makes sensational claim about late Wagner boss. EU boss backtracks on Ukraine pledge. Statue of Liberty replica torn down in Russia. EU audit chamber warns of Ukraine cash crisis. U.S. indicts ex-soldier for offering defense secrets to China. Former EU boss spreads Russian narrative, says Zelensky. Genetic testing company confirms theft of data. So I think it was 23andMe. So Biden blames the press for bad poll numbers. Why? Because the press tells us what you're not doing and doing? When they put a camera on you and you say and do stupid shit, that's on you, bro. Major U.S. airlines alarmed over fake engine safety certificates, says media. NATO sends more troops to Kosovo. Washington announces new China sanctions. French mayor takes down Ukrainian flag because of Zelensky phone call. Russia responds to expulsion of diplomats from U.S. Oh, that was actually the first one of yesterday's news. That means coffee and nicotine. Yay! I'm always finding myself grabbing this stupid little pod thing because, I don't know, it's so handy and I do like them. Been grabbing that thing a lot today. I don't know why. Like I say, I like it. Not some 20-pound frickin' mud I'm holding in my hand that I gotta worry about how I set it down so it don't leak. Don't get me wrong. It sure the hell doesn't replace that, and it's not going to. Huh. Now for my dragon cream. That's what I call it, dragon cream. But, to be real honest, I pretty well nailed Smarties candies on the head with this recipe. It's pretty much right on the head of Smarties candies. And I can definitely do that. Just a touch less banana cream, a touch, and just a touch less grape. Perfect Smarties recipe. All right. News that you can use. Or not. Muslim majority country considering restrictions on hijab. Hamas launches major attack on Israel. UK housing market in free fall, says Halifax. Pardon me. And once again, that's yesterday's news. Iran slams Nobel Peace Prize decision. Russian bankruptcies surge past million mark, says RBK. 17 Ukrainian soldiers surrender to Russian fighters. Dollar-based institutions are geriatric, economist tells RT. Oh yeah, you got to see the picture for this. Oh, where did it go, man? Oh, that's BS. That's BS. Hang on. That is not. This is the picture that was initially posted. That right there is what the picture was that was initially posted. You're going to say, wait a minute. That's not the same. Anyway. Israel is at war, says Netanyahu. Dozens of Israeli jets strike Gaza, says IDF. Russia relaxes ban on fuel exports. Belarusian leader issues red button warning. Hollywood strikes cost sector thousands of jobs. Violent Israel-Palestine escalation. Live updates. That's the link to get the live updates, the RT link. And that's still, I believe, the active link for the live updates. Yep, it is. France closes schools to combat bloodsucker spread. They've got one hell of a bedbug problem they're dealing with in France. It is. From what I can tell, it's a hell of a bad situation. I don't know enough about the culture. I'm not going to comment. I want to, but it's not right for me to because I don't know enough. Saudi Arabia considers oil measure to secure defense deal, says Wall Street Journal. Tehran praises Hamas assault on Israel, says media. Russia starts supplying gas to Central Asia. Moscow and Kiev react to Israel-Palestine escalation. Western officials pressure media on Ukraine's battlefield failures, says Washington Post. Russia's ex-president blames U.S. for Israel-Hamas fighting. Arab states react to surprise attack against Israel. Chechen leader proposes scrapping presidential elections. interesting. Hamas claims big number of Israeli captives. Manchester City owner probed over Russia links. U.S. set to declare Niger takeover a coup, says CNN. Germany's Bild tries to link Putin to Hamas assault on Israel. Not surprising. U.S. Senate chief blames China for opioid crisis. Oh yeah, it had nothing to do with pharmaceutical companies pumping opioids into people and then ripping them away. Nothing at all to do with that. No, it was China. Netanyahu vows to turn Gaza into ruins. Hundreds killed or injured in twin Afghan earthquakes. I saw those come in. Anything over a 6 magnitude earthquake, I get an email. And I know I saw like back-to-back earthquakes come in. I was like, wow. Israel bombs, I think that was the earthquakes that were like an hour apart or something. Israel bombs Hamas sites hidden in mosques, says IDF. You also shoot innocent people sitting on the beach, so, that happens. Trans women wins Miss Portugal pageant. Germany's finance minister pushes for review of Palestine aid. And yay, we are to today's news. That means more coffee, more nicotine. Because without those two compounds, I will cease to exist. I'm convinced of it. Or at least I won't want to exist. One of the two. I mean, probably both. Pink Starburst. And their Pink Starburst is much more a dead ringer than my Pink Starburst. Theirs tastes like spot on. Anyway. Pakistan weighs in on Hamas-Israel hostilities. Biden may request $100 billion for Ukraine, says Telegraph. Well, you know what my dad would always tell me. In one hand and wish in the other, see which one comes first. Israel fires artillery at Lebanon. AI could let people work less, JP Morgan boss claims. Russia's richest company revealed. Biden has creative ideas to keep Ukraine cash flowing, says Politico. Those scare me. Russia becomes India's #1 supplier of light-end oil product. Egyptian police officer kills 2 Israeli tourists. Americans losing spending power, says Bloomberg. Israel officially at war with Hamas, says Netanyahu's office. Germany at risk of energy shortages, says utility. Russia resumes oil exports to BRICS partner. Baltic Sea gas pipeline shut down over suspected leak. Israel-Palestine conflict endangers oil market, says experts. Everything endangers the oil market, according to you guys. Let's see, covered that and that. Military solution to Ukraine conflict unlikely, says Italian defense minister. I don't know where he gets that. I would say a military solution to the Ukraine conflict is highly likely, most probable. It's just not who you want to be the one winning. Doesn't mean that there's not a military solution. It just means the side you support very likely going to lose. Pretty much already has. Israelis beg for help after family identified among Hamas hostages. Turkish lawmaker sets out only way to stop Israeli-Palestinian violence. France to blame for any new conflict with Armenia, says Azerbaijan president. Let's see. Israel-Palestine escalation shouldn't be exaggerated, says Polish president. I kind of disagree. I read through that, and I wanted to see what his reasoning was. He's got a very weak argument. He really does. Israeli envoy vows to wipe out Hamas savages. Origins of U.S. weaponry used by Hamas must be investigated, says a congresswoman. Well, yeah, you're sending a bunch of stuff to Ukraine that ain't going to Ukraine because too many people in Ukraine or the U.S. is making money on it. Probably a good place to look. Pentagon sent... Oh, I covered that, actually. Oh, and I do have a number 1 up there. If it loads. Hello, McFly. German voters deal blow to ruling party. So, you get that shared out. And that's that. I would say enough craziness for one weekend. Like I say, just keep a real close eye on stuff. Be prepared to just to put your plans into action. Make sure you go over that. You know, if there's things you need to talk with your family members or group members, friends or whatnot, you know, reminders of, hey, if this equals that, might want to go over those types of plans. Average Joe Preparedness is an incredible channel that you should be subscribed to. And he had recently did a video reminding people to check on things, check their preps. And I will echo that, along with what I commented on his video. Make sure that includes going through making flashlights are in working order and batteries are charged, as well as communication devices are in working order and charged. Those are 2 things that in the time that you need them will cripple you the most if you don't have access to good working equipment. Light and communication, hugely important. Make sure you include that when you go through and checking on your preps. I'm not just saying this as being a prepper channel. Oh, first 5 things, blah, blah. No, do it. Seriously. I do. I'm not bullshitting about that. About once a month, I'm going through stuff, making sure it's charged up, making sure everything's in working order. And I don't have a particular day I do it. It's just, you know, don't do what don't follow me. If you're somebody that needs to put it on the calendar, put it on the calendar. I don't need to. I just periodically do it. And that time length between periods, I guarantee you, isn't really ever over a month. So, a lot of times if there's something that pops up on the news or whatever, I'll see that and it's like, oh, it's good time. Let me go check, spin a little bit. Let me go check on the batteries. Let me go check on the equipment. I highly encourage you to do the same. 1 second. We have little to no control of what's going to happen. But we have absolutely 100% control of how we respond, how we can respond. That's what's important to remember. Not all the semantics and all the drama surrounding any and all situations, but how we can best respond. That is what you want to focus on. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit of a lighter news night. And we'll go from there. So I hope you all have a good evening. I thank you for coming. Hope to see you tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.